Hello everybody and welcome back to Victoria 3, where we are dipping into deficit again, it seems. And a large amount of that is because we're building a bunch of paper mills. There's no doubt about that, but that should in the long run end up saving us money. So I'm completely okay with that. That should be fine. France is starting a diplomatic play against Morocco. That seems okay. Realistically, I would like to start thinking about some diplomatic plays up through here. Once we finish our paper production, we can start thinking about upgrading some of our troops. We've focused extremely heavily on our economy technologically, and that's one thing I've been noticing is at this point in the game, it's 1888. We've been focusing almost exclusively on the production tech tree. And yes, we are close to being through it. But I kind of feel like we need another research slot in this game. Maybe like a primary and secondary research. That said, it does automatically spread through innovations. So that's maybe I'm wrong about that. I need to give that a little bit more thought. Because like, for example, art silk. Cool. Sure, that's a thing. That's a thing. We're about to get right of assembly here. So that should help our radicals, I think. Hey, there we go. Right of assembly. So that gives us plus 50 authority, which we're currently negative in our authority. That's interesting. We'll look at that in a moment. And all of this happens. Sure. Okay, so they want to restore censorship. Hilarious. I doubt that's going to happen. Our deficit isn't looking that bad. However, this authority deficit, that's a problem. So, what can we do about that? How can we get some authority back? We're using authority by suppressing the evangelical church and the rural folk. We can probably stop that at this point. So I think that we can stop suppressing these guys. I think that we can also stop suppressing the rural folk, which, where are they? They're not in this at all, so that's interesting. I think that we can pretty safely stop suppressing them, though. Oh, man, we have to wait for that to pin open. That's slightly obnoxious, I'm not going to lie. There must be another way to get to this, but for now, we'll just do it this way. And that gives us a pretty good surplus on authority. Now, with that surplus on authority, we could theoretically run another consumption tax or two. 2, to be precise. We could run a consumption tax on transportation. That will help offset our subsidies. And then we can also run a tax on porcelain. Cool. So that'll do for the time being. That puts us back into positive. Maybe not if we were fully maxed out here on our construction speed. But that puts us back into positive-ish. We'll call it that. Positive-ish. Cool. So we're going to dig our way out of the small amount of credit we built up with that little bit of deficit spending. The rural folk are now influential. Sure. And they're not very happy. Who could have seen that coming? Definitely not me. Definitely not me. So yeah, you can see here that as our construction ramps up, we do dip back into running a very small deficit. But overall, I think this is fine. I think this is fine. So these paper mills are going to be done in 2 weeks. Once we have that done, we should no longer be running a deficit. It'll take some time for those to properly come online. But yeah, there we go. That's what I'm expecting to see. Beautiful. We should also see our goods for government buildings dropping somewhat, because we'll have a lot more paper. What is this? Scandinavia wants to enter into a trade agreement. We accept. Cool. So our GDP is about 30 million ahead of that of France. Imagine if we had their populace. They have 64.8 million population. We have 23.6. Radicals really dropped, and the reason for that is because of the free assembly. Noted. Is this number increasing or decreasing overall? 2.08 million. It looks like it's dropping. Hmm. 2.07 million. Okay. I think our raw number is declining. And our loyalists increased, but is now going down, which is sad. Wargaming is now unlocked, so siege artillery is available, and stormtrooper technology is available as well. So let's head into our buildings here. I don't want to do plastics. We already have decided that. We don't want to be reliant on oil at this time, since we don't have any way to get that. Siege artillery here, and monitors, as well as siege artillery. Cool. So that'll be fine for the time being. I'm expecting that we'll have some input goods shortages here. Ironclad, rubber, oil, artillery, and small arms. Noted on the artillery and small arms. So we should definitely look at creating some arms industries here. For sure. Absolutely for sure. Wow, these are some very, very large economies of scale that are building up. I like it. So we're going to bring these up to level 10, and then we're going to also take all of these up to level 15. That's going to be very expensive. I have no illusions about that. But that should fix the problem. And they're just raw profitable on their own. So, yeah, the price is going to go up, but that's ultimately good for us. We're going to finish these up eventually. We've got 28 weeks on the arms industries. Cool. And we're maxing out our construction. It'll take some time. That's fully understood. So, at this point, if we were to go into our politics and into our laws, yeah, there's not a lot that we can do yet. What I really want to do is increase our workforce. Women in the workplace would be really good. It would reduce our birth rate by 5%, but only a 10% workforce ratio. That's interesting. Regardless, that would be good. Dutch people have begun migrating to the state of Flanders. I'm shocked. Utterly shocked. Okay. Combustion engines. Cool. So we can do automobile production now. Okay, I want to hop into here under production, and we're just continuing to fill all this in. So we'll go for pasteurization. And next, let's hop into our buildings. We can go for motorized reconnaissance, which seems fine. Our railways could go to publicly traded, but I don't think that's useful. Okay, let's see what we've got here. So our synthetic plants can go to rayon. Done. Our motor industries can do engine production or automobile production. Honestly, I think we leave it on engine production. Automobiles don't... That doesn't really fix our problems, right? We need engines. We need engines. So I think we sit here. For our urban center, we could run public trams. That would actually save us quite a lot of money. In theory. We'll see what happens with that. Okay. Checking through the rest of these, any other production methods that we want to swap? The answer is no. Okay, so we'll tick on forward, and I'm going to keep an eye on what's going on financially with those changes to the urban center. I know that those can really ramp up fast, so we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening there. Realistically, I would like to upgrade the urban center somewhat further, but it's rough. Electric streetlights would actually net us, according to this, plus 928k. We can try it. Covered markets would apparently increase our substitution as well by a lot. Let's see what happens if we do this with our urban centers. We tried this before, and we clearly weren't ready for it, but we may be ready now. So we'll see. We seem to be holding pretty firm here. For the moment, anyway. I like it. We'll keep an eye on that, but for now, I think it's good. Luxembourg ended their support for Austria. That's fascinating. Hey, Luxembourg. Do you want to join our confederation? I mean, I don't think we can actually ask them that. No, we really can't. Nobody's joined our confederation for a while, I've noticed. That's definitely a thing, but I'm not too concerned about that right now. Right now, we're building a lot of arms industries. And some railways. We have low market access in 3 locations. Prussian Brunswick is at 33%. Interesting. Why are you so low? Just a lack of people? Yes. Prussian Brunswick just doesn't have employees. Noted. So we're definitely seeing the amount of radicals dropping. That's very good. The amount of loyalists is increasing. So they're starting to feel the effects of the economy now. That's very obvious. And I'm very, very happy about that. Luxembourg is now supporting Austria. Hanover ended their support for us. Uh-huh. I do want to get Hanover. So at some point, we should probably start a diplomatic play for that. The question is, when do we think we can get away with it? And the answer is not now. Our GDP is very, very good. And continuing to move much, much faster than anyone else's economy. So that's great. Legal guardianship, that's not the direction we want to go here. So we're not going to be pursuing that. We're definitely seeing our subsidies costs go up. Here's my question. Is that due to the cost of electricity? It might be. So if we look at the market here, and we look at electricity, there's a big imbalance. So yes, the answer is yes. We do definitely need to increase our number of power plants. So each one of these is producing 100 per level now. And what is our deficit right now? Our power deficit is 4.65k. So that means that we need, call it 50 levels of power plant. Okay. So that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Cool. So we'll get all that queued up. That will take time. Our arms industries are still being produced. So that's understood. Another question that I have... Oh, we just flipped positive in our finances. That's great. I'm really happy to see that. Although that will change as we start building power plants because we won't pull out of our investment pool. And it already changed. So that's fine. We're currently at 24 standard of living average, with that being the #1 in the world. I like it. So here's my question. This is our average annual projected pop growth. We only have 8,000 unemployed people. We have 16.9 million dependents. Okay. Noted. So here's my question. How can we use our insane per capita GDP and living standard to draw pops from neighboring countries to migrate into us? That's my question. Because we need to expand our workforce. We can also see here that our investment pool is not going to cover all of these power plants. That's fine. That's understood. So we're going to run a deficit for a little while here as we work on expanding our power plants to meet the needs of our, well, running a deficit for that is completely fine. I'm not, oh, didn't mean to necessarily zoom in like that. I'm not necessarily interested in not running a deficit right now. We do have a bit of a credit built up, and I would like to pay that back. But I want to get these arms industries done, and then we're going to really tear into these power plants for a little while. So this will be fine. Standard of living is increasing across the board. The main problem right now is Prussian Brunswick. And Prussian Brunswick is shrinking. Presumably because it's a split state with Brunswick. They're currently wary of us. Brunswick and Hanover. But all of these guys... Yeah, that's a little spooky. That's a little spooky, for sure. Echoes of Revolutions. Let's hear what they have to say. Sure. It's worked well for us thus far to be a little bit revolutionary. So we'll definitely continue working on that. 2 weeks left until most of these arms industries are done. That's great. Now, I want to check in. Yeah, we no longer have input goods shortages there. We do have an automobiles input goods shortage, though. I mean, that makes sense. Because we're not actually making any automobiles. We're making engines. Well, what's the actual split on that? So if we go into our motor industries right now, they're producing 80 engines. If we do automobile production... If we do this, are they producing only automobiles? I'm not sure. There doesn't seem to be a way to split the difference between engines and automobiles, other than swapping some of these individually. So we may end up wanting to do that. Swapping like this over to automobile production out in Posen. And then when we do that, I want to check in now at this, and I want to see, are we only producing automobiles here? No, we are still producing engines. Noted. So we're producing 600 engines here, and then if we prioritize engine production, we'll produce 800 engines. I think this is fine. I think we should switch all of them over to automobiles then, so we can produce both automobiles and engines instead of just engines. Yes, that will cost us some money in the short term. But let's go ahead and do that. Do we have the rubber? There is a rubber input goods shortage. And we will seek to import rubber from the British market and the French market. There we go. And we know that we're going to need more motor industries as well. We know this for a fact. So let's go ahead and prepare to expand our motor industries. This will happen after our power plants. And yeah, these are going to lose money in the short term. But I'm going to bump all of these up to level 10. And I think these are only losing money because of their good substitutions for the moment, I think. We'll see. Okay. So we're ticking on forward here. Our arms industries are still a little ways from... We're currently running an engines input goods shortage, and we can probably tweak our automobiles production somewhat. I want to check in the market. How much are automobiles right now at this moment? Okay, there's still a deficit for them right now. But that will likely change. And we definitely need to work on our engines. 100%. Okay, so we're just running this small deficit. I think it's completely fine. And our arms industries are going to be finishing up here very shortly. Once they do, we're going to run a slightly larger deficit because our investment pool is going to be building up. We cannot spend investment pool funds on power plants. That's understood. We're going to have these power plants finishing up somewhat soon, though, or at least a good chunk of them finishing up somewhat soon. And our construction queue is doing pretty well. I'm not concerned about that at all. Our GDP is fluctuating wildly right now, which is not necessarily great. What's this event? It has been suggested that we take and distribute some pictures of our country's most famous landmarks. Yeah, we should do that. We could distribute them domestically for legitimacy for 5 years, but honestly, I haven't really cared too much about legitimacy. It hasn't felt that important. So we'll take some prestige. France wants to enter a defensive pact. Cool. The two most powerful economies in the world in a defensive pact. No one will be interested in attacking us. So that sounds good. And yes, our deficit is going to be increasing here for a bit. Anarchism has been unlocked. We're not going to pursue that. Beautiful. So our arms industries are going to be done in 4 weeks here. And our power plants are going to be finished expanding, or some of them are going to be finishing expanding shortly after that. Not. Our overall construction queue has 77 weeks in it right now. So we're finishing up our arms industries. Our power plants are going to be going for a while. And then after that, of course, we've got those motor industries. So that's going to be interesting. We'll let the economy auto-expand after that. I expect we'll have some input goods that we need for all of this. Particularly coal, I'm thinking. There's also a dye input goods shortage, which means that I'm interested potentially in synthetics plants. Potentially. I'm going to build one in Baden and one in Silesia. Those are the only slightly profitable locations, and we're just going to put those at the end of the queue. Okay, oil, that's expected. We can try to import some oil. There's no oil to import. Engines, we're working on. Ironclads. We're not a significant producer of ironclads. Those are produced in shipyards. Which we have ports, but we don't... Actually, we should build a port up here in Pomerania. We don't have very many shipyards. Indeed not. I'm going to take these up to 5. There we go. Adding those onto the end of the list. Beautiful. So all of these power plants are queued up right now. And that's looking great. So the power plants are going to be finishing soon. Obviously, we're currently building up our... No, we're not building up our investment pool because we're also working on some of these motor industries. Noted. So the motor industries are likely going to be done before our power plants are... Well, not necessarily. There's a lot of motor industries here. Some of the motor industries will be done before our power plants, but not by any means all. Okay. I'm a little concerned about this market access. In fact, I'm a lot concerned about this market access. Is this due to the urban centers? Let's see here. This is our motor industries. I want to do that and subsidize the urban centers. Yeah, so that's quite expensive. But that should end up fixing our market access. I think. We'll keep an eye on that. This is a problem we ran into with upgrading our urban centers previously. Glass and steel. Yeah, that's very expensive. Electricity is very expensive too, but we're working on that. So we're currently at a 1 million deficit per week. That's obviously too much. So we do need to back off on our urban centers. I think that's very, very clear. So first things first, I think that we should leave the public motor carriages. But I think that we should go to market stalls. I'm going to try leaving the lights. Okay, that's 600k. Noted. Unlit streets, 400k. So we're taking this all the way back. And no longer subsidizing them. We're putting the urban centers back where they were. Okay. Noted. And we're hoping that this market access will recover. The major problem is a lot of these urban centers are not going to be employed. Indeed. So we should still subsidize these. But we're making them as cheap as possible. Well, with that, it is about time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we are going to look at fixing this small deficit problem. We definitely need to work on that. But a lot of that has to do with our extreme construction that we're doing right now. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including Casserole. I scrolled down on my notepad. I don't understand why. Casserole, ALS Gamer, Kentuin, James, Shadowwolf, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Video Games Are Not Real, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Unisil, Kadra, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video. And as always, I will see you all next time.